Paula, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. How have you been since we saw each other last?
Good. I feel good.
Feeling better?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did things go after our last session? Like, did you go home and tell brother about?
Yeah. We actually talked about it for a little bit, and he thought it was a really good idea for me to go to group. Like, he totally saw the benefits of it. Still haven't said anything to my mom. I did ask him, like, what he thought would happen if I told her, and he basically thinks the same thing as me. Like, she'd probably think it was dumb. But, so I definitely need to still find a way to tell her. But I already feel relief from telling my brother, so.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So I've actually been thinking about that a little bit. And I've got some stuff ready so that we can, like, go ahead and look through and try and pick a group. But one of the thoughts that came to my mind was, if you had wanted to do a group session with me and have Mom come with you and, like, we can plan it around, like, her schedule so that, like, we can get both of you in here. That way you're not just telling her by yourself and, like, I can explain the benefits of it and all of that.
Because you know more.
Yeah, and so, like, then maybe she'll have a better outlook on it coming from, like, me as well, since she obviously referred you to me, so, like, coming from me a little bit and that kind of thing. So I didn't know how you felt about that, or if you wanted to try and plan that.
No, I think that sounds like a good idea. I think she'd probably, like, be more likely to be on board with it if it came from you two, because sometimes I feel like she doesn't take me seriously, so she probably would think, like, I didn't know all the information. So if it comes from you and me together, she'll probably feel better about it. So.
Yeah, of course. So we can go ahead. We'll make sure to plan that the end of the day, and we won't have to have a finite date because you probably don't know her schedule as well as you know yours. So we can discuss that, and if we need to, like, email about it a little bit, or if you need to call the office and reschedule it, or however, we can do it that way. How do you feel about looking over some of the So I went ahead and I wrote up our plan and of just kind of the things we discussed the last time, getting it in written format. Do you want to look over that and, like, evaluate it a little bit so that you can see if there's any changes you want to make to the goals that I saw that we had discussed or anything? Okay.
Sure.
All right. I have this for you. You just want to look at that for a minute and kind of see if there's anything you want to change or anything you want to add to it.
The first one looks good.
Okay.
Looks good.
Okay.
Neat.
And all those dates kind of fit into the timeline we discussed and all that? Okay, perfect. As long as you're happy with that, we can go ahead and proceed with what I'm planning today. So, the things that I'm planning to talk about today, I think I want to start out with the group, since that was the first thing that you really wanted to tackle and start going to group and stuff like that. We did discuss, like, talking to Matt? Is it Matt? It's Matt. Okay, sorry about that. But, like, discuss talking to Matt and, like, how he was with group and how he's pretty on board and he's real supportive and stuff like that. So that'll be really helpful, and, like, you're on board with trying to get Mom in here so that we can both talk to her about that. We'll try to do that sooner rather than later. That way we get you into that before we get you going to group. But I have planned, I've got a couple different groups for you to kind of look through. They've got some descriptions of, like, what the groups are. There's a couple in Wabash. I think one or two of them might be in Fort Wayne. There's a little bit of information about if they've got some cost to them, so you can decide, like, benefit-wise if you would be willing to pay that money or...
I like the sound of this one.
Okay.
And so it's $189, like, for the whole 10 weeks?
Yes.
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Like, that's not too expensive or anything.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't look up any. I didn't really have time, but.
No, that's perfectly fine. I had kind of put it in the plan for me to work on that. That way you and I could discuss it a little bit. What is it about this one that, like, is the most appealing to you, do you think?
This one says, like, in the title, it says Tame Your Thoughts, Reduce Anxiety and Depression, where, like, all these other ones are just basically, like, teen-focused anxiety and depression or social anxiety therapy group. This one seems like more, like it's going to teach me how to tame my thoughts.
Like, more interactive and more, like,
learning. Instead of just
Mm-hmm.
talking about it, I'm going to be learning skills to deal with it myself, like, when I'm not in group. So that sounds really helpful.
Yeah, and I think, is that one of them? Yeah, that's one of them that's, like, focused in Wabash, so that'll be an easy little commute for you kind of thing. And
I think 10 weeks fits into our, like, time thing, too, right?
Yeah. Yep. And, looks like it starts the next group session next month, so that'll actually work perfect because you'll get right in the beginning of that cycle, and that'll work great for you. So, do you want me to go ahead and try to contact them for you? Do you want their contact information?
I feel like it'd be good if I tried to contact them.
Okay.
So, like, if you could just give me, like, the number. Or
Yeah,
emails or
not a
whatever.
problem. I can go ahead and put down. And I will make sure to email that to you after our session today. That way you've got that, and I can also put it in some notes if you want me to do it that way. But I think that that'll be a really good group. It looks like it's more of a psychoeducational group. Looks like really focusing on that anxiety and depression and being able to work through those thoughts and building up skills and all of that. So I think that'll be a really constructive group for you. And I actually was, when I was looking at them, I was thinking that would kind of be the one you would lean towards just because of the way it was, but that social anxiety group, I didn't know if that was kind of more what you were leaning towards, so I figured I'd give you a bit of a range on them, but I really think that that's going to be a helpful group for you. Now, so that actually fits really well into our timeline now that I'm looking at it. And it fits looking into where you wanted it. What else? Okay, so it looks like we're working through that first goal pretty well. So we've already started crossing off telling people about group, you've picked your group, and then like we're discussing having mom come in for a meeting. I think we're on a pretty good track to get you started in that group and start tackling that anxiety for you. Do you have any concerns about going to the group or?
Not really, but is it, so when I go next month, is it going to be like the first meeting or like, have these people already been meeting?
No, so since it's a 10-week group, it runs on this timeline, so you'll be there for 10 weeks and the entire group will be a closed group. So it'll be you and however many other members.
So like people can't come and go?
Nope.
Okay.
It's however many members are in that group you're all there for 10 weeks. You start at the same time, you'll end at the same time.
Okay.
So that way it makes it easier to build relationships and just feel more open and be able to discuss like what's going on in life and how can you tackle those everyday problems and things along that line. Have you been still struggling pretty bad going out of the house and stuff like that with your anxiety?
Kind of, yeah. That's why I was kind of nervous about the group because I didn't want to be like the new person in group.
Yeah.
So it makes me happy that like it'll be all of our like we're on the same page in group. Basically, yeah, it's just the same at home. Yeah, still.
Okay.
I'm excited to work on it though.
Yeah, no, not a problem. I understand that 100%. Did you look a little bit into school at all? I know you had talked about.
I went on PFW, Purdue Fort Wayne's like website and did a lot of like researching and looked through that. I actually did a lot of that with my mom too, because she's really excited about the idea of college. So I did a lot of that with my mom, and we were on the website for like 30 minutes to an hour, just like looking on it. So we're both really excited, but yeah, I haven't really done anything other than that. So.
Good, I'm glad. Well, that was probably a pretty good bonding experience
Yeah.
for you and Mom, just to be able to sit down and look at some of that stuff. And that's good, though, because that's pretty good alone time for you guys. Like, we had talked about you guys going out for dinner and something like that, but even, like, just sitting down like that at night and just kind of doing some research together and having that mutual excitement, I think was huge for you guys. Did they have some, like, pretty good handicap accessibility and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. We searched, like, their, like, accommodations for, or, like, we even did, like, the percent of kids on campus who do have a disability, things like that. And they seemed super diverse and, like, open to that kind of thing. A lot of their dorms have, like, elevators and stuff like that, so that helps. Yeah, so, I mean, I didn't, like, see any, like, red flags or anything right off the bat, just from their website, so.
Okay. And does Mom seem like she's pretty on board to scheduling a tour and stuff like that?
Yeah, and she likes the fact that it's in Fort Wayne, so it's, like, far enough to get me out of my shell and things like that, but it's not too far to where I can't come home if I need to. And,
perfect.
Yeah.
I'm glad that everything's working out and that she's excited and on board with that as well. Yeah. Did you happen to look into any, like, financial aid or starting to fill out FAFSA?
No, me and my mom are actually talking about that too. She doesn't really know where to start with that, so maybe when she comes in to talk about, like, the group, we could, like, talk a little bit about FAFSA.
Yeah.
Because maybe you know how to, like, start that.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because I don't know anything about it, and she doesn't really either, so.
Yeah, and I can definitely look into that and get some handouts and stuff like that about, like, how to start the process, what websites to go to. Even, like, you can get on Purdue Fort Wayne's website and get their, like, government ID. That way you have that. So I can look into some of that stuff so that we have that ahead of time, and that way when she comes in, like, we're not just dropping a heavy ball on her.
Yeah,
like, you're going to go to group. Topics. Yeah, we can kind of, like, work into, like, oh, like, you're excited about her going off to school. Like, here's some of the things that'll help. And so, yeah. Okay. Perfect. And then, did you get a chance to work on your resume at home?
Yeah, I figured out I kind of had, like, an old one that we had to do in high school, so I kind of, like, worked with that a little bit. It's really rough. I forgot to bring it in, but maybe next meeting I could and we could look at it. But, yeah, I don't really know how to do it. I tried to Google some stuff, but it's kind of rough.
Do you know what kind of things you already had on it that were?
Yeah, I just had, like, my high school, some of, like, because I was in National Honor Society in high school, so that was pretty cool. I put that on there, like, work history, like, just a few part-time jobs. Yeah, but, like, a lot of, like, I've heard that resumes aren't supposed to be super long.
Yeah.
And mine's super long. I don't really know how to condense it. Like, I need help condensing it. Probably, like, finding, like, the good information I need to put on there besides, like, the irrelevant stuff. So, just things like that, but, yeah.
So I think one of the best things we can work on, even without having your resume here, is working on, like, so there's objectives are a really good thing to put on it. So, like, what do you plan to get out of the resume that you're making? So, like, do you want a part-time job? Are you trying to apply for an internship? Like, those kind of things. So what do you have in mind objective-wise that we can work towards, or, like, what you want the resume to be, like, focused on?
Like, what I want the resume to get me?
Yeah.
Because we were talking about it because of an on-campus job.
Okay.
So, like, maybe, like, I wanted to portray that I'm, like, like, I can work and do, like, school at the same time. So, like, show, like, that's why I think, like, the National Honor Society thing would be good, because it shows that, like, I can do school and things outside of school and keep my grades well and show up to work on time and things like that. So, I think that'd be helpful.
So is it fair to say that an objective is that you hope to obtain a part-time job while attending school full-time and finding that work-school balance?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you put that on the resume?
Yeah. So I can actually show you a template where we've got an objective, and then like there's some personal skills along with like each one of your individualized, so like your education, your work experience, like so you have all your information, like your contact information, your name, all of that stuff will be like focused at the top, and then like your very first thing that they'll see is like your objective. So like what do you really want out of it? So like you want to be a full-time student while you're working part-time, that kind of thing. And it'll make a little bit more sense, like, once we actually have your resume in front of us and all of that. But then, so, like, one of the other things that's really good to put on there is, like, personal skills. So, like, what are some of your personal skills? Like, are you responsible? Are you trustworthy? Those kind of things. Like, what kind of personal skills do you see in yourself?
I'm really organized. Like when I start something, I'm very like, I follow the steps, I do it the right way. I've always been like that. When I do, besides my anxiety, like when I do start talking to someone, I'm really good at like carrying out small talk and talking to people. It's just the fact of like getting out of my bubble. So I feel like, especially after like attending group and stuff, when I do get a job on campus, like after I'm like adjusted, maybe after like a couple weeks on the job, I'll be really good at like talking to the people who I need to deal with and stuff like that. So I'm really good at like making small talk. I'm responsible, like I'm a hard worker, so when like if I have a task to complete, like I'll get it done and I'll try to do it the right way.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm approachable. I don't think I'm too, like, intimidating or anything. So.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a really good list to start with of, like, your personal skills. That's a really good objective to have on your resume, just so that they know, like, you are going to try to be going to school full-time. You are a full-time student, but you do want this part-time job, and you are, like, while you're there, you really want to work and that kind of thing. So I think that's a really good start, even, like, not having your resume here in front of us, all of that. But I think that that'll be really good. Have you talked to anybody else in the family about, like, attending school or getting started on this whole process?
I actually talked to my grandparents who live close by. They were really excited for me, asking me a bunch of questions and stuff, like jobs and everything like that. I kind of told them it's, like, up in the air. We're working on it, but they're super happy and excited for me. So I don't have anyone so far who's, like, been, like, negative about anything. So that's good, and I'm feeling like really good, especially like seeing it in writing really helps me like get excited.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good. I'm glad that everything's starting to kind of fall together and that you're getting excited about all of it. Are you excited for this upcoming holiday and stuff like that?
Yeah. We always do a lot for Thanksgiving. My mom's a really good cook. When she doesn't cook a lot, but when she does, it's really good. So I'm really excited.
Are you guys gonna do it at your house, or are you gonna have?
Yeah, my grandma and grandpa come over. And my mom's cousins and, like, a couple of her, like, and, like, her nieces and nephews and stuff come over, so.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Well, whoops. I think that we're kind of reaching the end of the things that I've had planned for today. Is there anything else that you want to focus on or that you want to discuss?
No, the only really thing was just the resume thing, but I think bringing it up when my mom comes in, or next session, is a good idea. Like, I could bring my resume in and we could work on it a little bit. That was really my only concern coming in today, so.
I wrote the number down wrong. Just trying to make you a little note here. That way you can take it home with you. And it is... Okay, and then I'm going to make a little note on here for you as well, just to make sure we bring that resume next time, and also discuss with Mom when she would be available to like get in here with you, and we can do that 2-man group session. So
I think she'll be excited to come.
yeah, and then just make sure that she knows that we want to discuss with her and like talk a little bit about FAFSA, and getting all that stuff. And then I'll make sure that like for me, for that next group, I'll get some of the FAFSA stuff around for you, and look into Purdue Fort Wayne. That way I've got their information with FAFSA and all of that. So that way we have all of that. Put on here that this was the one in Wabash, and that it was $189 for 10 weeks. And then we can also discuss looking into if there's any like help you can get for paying for this group. If you want to discuss with Mom payment, like we can talk about that when she comes in here. Just all that stuff.
Worst case scenario, I have stuff saved up from my previous jobs.
Okay.
So, I mean, I could pay it, like, out of my own pocket if
Not a
I needed
problem.
to. But, I mean, if I could get help, that'd be cool, too.
Yeah, not a problem. And I think the only other thing I have is trying to schedule the meeting, our next meeting. Do you want to try to schedule it now, and then if we have to rearrange it, you can call? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Let me look here. So, with Thanksgiving, all of that. How would you feel about doing December 5th?
What day is that? A Wednesday?
So Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. And then I can, like, run it by my mom, and if that doesn't work, we can let you know.
Okay. And we'll just try to go for 12 again. Make sure to make a little note on here for you. There you go. And then I think that we're set to go for today.
Cool.
So,
Okay.
nice short little meeting. Anything else that you...
No, I don't think so. It was shorter, but I feel like we're just getting somewhere, and I feel like next meeting will be really good for, it'll be good for me and my mom and everyone. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, good.
Yeah.